All right, we're going to take a look here at this banker situation with this rash of deaths with these bankers. A lot of people think it's suspect. Are they connected somehow, some way? You hear stories about this one and that one. They're labeling majority of them suicides, which are a red flag, in my opinion, right out the gate. And when you start to dig, you see that actually these guys just simply knew too much. These are guys that have been in their profession for years. And I'm going to touch on each and every one of them here and let you see the connections they had and where they stood. Now, this first guy was a retired guy, and his name was William Brokesmith. He was a top exec at Deutsche Bank. He retired in 2013. Now, they found his body. He was hung inside his home, inside London. Now, all of his family and friends and everybody's flipping out because they're like, he wasn't talking suicidal or anything like that. They think somebody hung him, killed him, this and that. Now, the very next day, January 27th, Eric Ben Artsy, he's a whistleblower that turned on Deutsche Bank. He came out and he spoke at the University of Alabama on how Deutsche Bank had covered up $12 billion in losses. They had hid it. So this guy, William Brokesmith, would have been one of the top guys that knew almost everything involved. So the first one right there connected to a bigger investigation where this whole bank is being investigated. Okay? So we'll move on to the very next day, the 28th. Notice how at first here this is going day by day. The 26th, they find him dead. The 27th, the guy comes out and makes a statement. The 28th, an American named Gabriel McGee, he's vice president of J.P. Morgan London, fell from the 33-story rooftop. Now, this is highly suspect because they're saying this is one of the most guarded buildings in the area. He had to have, access to get to the roof in the first place. Family and friends say that he was ready to get married to his girlfriend, had aspirations, and by no means was suicidal. This guy they found, obviously dead, saying he commits suicide jumping from a 33-story rooftop. Now, January 29th, the very next day, Mike Deuker, he was chief economist at Russell Investments. He was said to have died from a 50-foot fall off of an embankment coming off of a highway. Now, they're saying that it was suicide. Now, this is a guy that has his PhD, and you would think he'd be a lot smarter, killing himself than going off an embankment like this. 50 foot. Could have been an accident. Others say that they don't think so, because they say if you dig deeper into him, you also find out that he was before where he was now, or recently at Russell Investments, chief economist. Before that, he was economist at the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis from 1991 to 2008. When I mention the Federal Reserve, you should know this guy knows a lot. He was also the editor for Monetary Trends, which was a publication put out by the Fed in St. Louis. So this guy knew a whole lot as well. Okay, now come to find out when digging, in November 2013, Russell Investments got subpoenaed by New York State for schemes in pension funds. And this guy would have been right there connected in with all of it. Probably been front and center, questioned. One of the guys. So there's the connection to the top three guys in Deutsche Bank, J.P. Morgan, Russell Investments, and the big banks and companies being investigated themselves, and these guys being guys that knew a lot. Now all of them are dead. So there's some answers and clarification for the connections there. And this fourth guy, David Bird, he was an oil market reporter, Wall Street Journal for 20 years. He just disappeared January 11th, never to be seen again. And this is a guy that had to take medicine on a daily basis because of a recent surgery. He went for a jog, never to be seen again. You could say he's dead. So all four bankers connected to the game here with big money, oils, banks, Wall Street, the whole nine. This is the connection. These are guys that obviously knew too much. We'd have to dig into each and every one of them separately from here on out, but there's a good chunk of information on each and every one of them. A lot of detail in this link. I'll leave it as always. Until next time, it's been Dahboo77. Eyes open.